Hello and welcome to this particular video. In this particular video, we'll be considering colors. We saw how to add it directly in our previous video. We also saw how to the different method used in applying a CSS to our work. So in this particular video, we want to look at color specifically. But before we dive into that, I want to play with our minds a little bit. Now, let's go to the browser and see what we have. Let's refresh this. You find out that we have a green color here. The reason is because we have our H3 to be green color here. Now, assuming I do H3 here, and then another H3, then still color. And in this case, I change the color to maybe blue. Which one do you think will take effect? Because this is H3 carrying green, H3 also carrying blue. Which one do you think will take effect? The blue will actually take effect. Let's refresh and see that. You see, it is blue. The reason is because of the cascading rule. The rule is that the one that comes under will take effect. It will automatically supersede the effect of this one. So the one that comes under tends to take that effect. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. And another thing is that you notice that I'm using the external styling now. And in most cases, I use external styling for my work because of two major reasons. The first reason is I think it is better to have some sort of separation of concern. Separation of concern in the sense that we have a particular file carrying only HTML. Then we have another file carrying the load of CSS. Then another reason is that the code will be cleaner because it is better we have it in one file instead of mixing the two of them here. It will not make our code to be very clean. So those are the two major things I wanted to point out. And let's dive into colors and then some few other effects. Before we do that, let's still use this H3 and then do one or two design on that so that we see how everything will go. All right. And maybe I can decide to add something like text align like we have seen. I want to add further properties. Text align center. I can add something like maybe border 4 pixel, 4 pixel, 4 pixel, 4 pixel. Okay, no, let me just use one solid red. You get to understand what this means when we enter the box model section of this particular course. So don't worry. All right. So this is what I wanted to achieve. I can even change this to dash. Assuming I don't want to use that solid, I can use dash so that we see how that works. All right. Then the first thing I want to do before we dive into color proper is the cursor. How can we change our cursor when we highlight on those things? So we can say cursor. We have a whole lot of them. We have, for example, weight. That means when we move our cursor close to this particular text, we want it to change to weight. I hope you can see what is happening. Then we have another one like the copy. There are a whole lot of them. You can check them out online. We have another one like the copy. So if I save, refresh, you see the sign has actually changed. There is a plus. There we have something like the cross share. We have the cross share. All right. Okay. Let's refresh that and see what we have. Well, once I hover around it, you see the cursor actually changes. All right. Then talking about color, we have a whole lot of method of applying colors, and the first one is what we did here, just writing the name of the color directly. But there is another one I want to show us today. We have what we call the RGB. We have what we call RGB. Good. This RGB, R stands for red, G stands for green, and blue, B stands for blue. And it is a set of values that starts from 0 down to 255. 0 is the lowest value, while the highest is 255. All right. So if you have 0, 0, 0, the color will be black. That's the lowest. Let's refresh and see what happened to that. Our text, find out that the color has changed to black. Then the highest number, like I stated initially, is 255. So if you increase everything to 255, you discover that it will be the opposite of black color, which of course is white. So if I refresh, you will not even see it again because of the background. So because of the background, the text has actually changed to white, and it's a bit difficult for you to spot that. Then another thing, let me change it to a more fitting color. Now, assuming I change this to 0, assuming I have 0 here and I have 0 here. Now, it means B being blue is in full force, 255. So the color will definitely be blue. Let's refresh and see what we have. Alright, so another thing I want to establish is what we call the RGBA. In this case, we just come here and add letter A. That letter A stands for transparency. That letter A stands for transparency, but the value ranges from 0 to 1. And you know the values between 0 and 1 are 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, down to 1. So 0.1 being the lowest, it makes it the opacity, like the transparency, to be very transparent. So let's see what we have. So you see it's very transparent. So we can actually increase it to something like, let's say 0.5. So if you increase it to 0.5, the color will be deeper a bit. Alright. So that is it for RGB and RGB. Then the last one I want to show us before we proceed is the HEX, a set of 6 values in which we can actually use to manipulate our work. If you don't want to use RGBA, you can use these 6 values. We have a whole lot of them. Let's say, for example, something like AA 41. These are color codes 413, 4139. Now, if I check my browser, this will not actually work until I add hash to read this pound sign. So please always endeavor to add it, and you can check this HEX color code online for different colors. But the truth is that whatsoever color this can be produced, you can also achieve it using the RGBA if you know how to combine your colors very well. So we refresh, you see the color has actually changed to something like brown color. Then for me, I prefer most times using the RGBA. So let's leave it there. So all what I can do now will be just to sit down and mix this color. Maybe I can give this 67 and give this maybe 110. Let's see, it will give us some sort of a very unique color. So alright, you can also play around with your color by hovering here if you are using VS Code, and then use this to play around with your colors. And as you are playing, you observe that the RGB, there is RGB here, and the color codes are actually changing. So that is what I will have for you today on the aspect of playing around with your colors. And in the next video, where we'll be looking at fonts, we'll get to play with more design. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.